BLG will have a conclusion. I know nobody believed it was possible, but the impossible is happening before our very eyes. Here we go. BLG pinging back here up against EDG. I thought that was a misspelling of pick and ban then, and my brain just exploded. We're going to have a Karma and Lee Sin ban. We're going to have a Thresh and a Senna ban on the side of EDG. It's been a long day already, Dagda.
No,
this just cast is going to get kooky.
I didn't realize how close that was to pick and bang or pick and ban until you said it. Like, yeah. But anyway, it is going to get a bit kooky. The question for me is, if Lulu's going to get banned, Lulu does get banned. We will not get the exact same remake as we had last game. But again, Hex Flash is not allowed to be used in this game. So I'm curious to see now how that does mix things up and how that does potentially change up the support pool. I'm curious to see if just from a comfort perspective, if we see people just going back to, you know, your bog standard. But I genuinely think that this could actually have a pretty big impact on the state of affairs.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as the series pans out here. It's going to be a Nocturne first pick, Kai'Sa and Rumble to answer. Then over towards BLG, you could expect maybe something like the Udyr could be locked in for Weiwei. The Varus maybe could be taken up this time. So perhaps something like Tahm Kench could go up in priority as well. We'll have to wait to see what they opt into from the side of BLG.
Hey, well, I mean, as we're talking about it, no Hex Flash means that you're actually a lot safer as this Varus on the bottom side of the map. You're not going to have, like, all these people suddenly flashing on you out of bushes and that. So you can actually look to play that lane a lot easier. Now, Tahm Kench would still be nice to be paired with it, but it means that you probably don't have to as much. But looks like we're going to see that anyway for PP VOD on the bottom side of the map. And you've got a pretty potent kind of front-to-back style fight that could come through here from BLG with the Nocturne kind of playing as that dive and setting up alongside the Varus for a decent fight.
I'm going to be totally honest with you here, Dagda. I really hope this is an exciting game now.
Yeah, I feel like the stakes have been raised.
Super quiet early game at this point. I think everyone's going to cry in chat. Here we go, though. It looks like a Renekton's going to make it through. We've seen Renekton banned a reasonable amount recently. It is going to be locked in here for the red 3 pick on the side of EDG. Very expectant that will go towards Flandre in the top side, but it's possible that Scout could take it in the mid lane as well. Now towards the bans. I think these bans will kind of indicate where EDG want to send this Renekton.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think you ban junglers here. I think when you have, like, basic Rumble locked in, you've already gotten rid of, like, the Lee Sin, you can get rid of Udyr, you can get rid of some of these other, like, pesky jungle champions that we've seen come out, like, even something like the Kindred or the Viego or anything along these lines realistically, just to try and keep it all kind of in check and make sure that Weiwei just isn't having as easy a time as maybe once previous.
Yeah, we'll see what EDG want to remove here. Viego, as you mentioned, getting taken away here by BLG. Set is still available. Set has been a very, very popular pick today. I wouldn't be too surprised to see either team go for that. The Volibear taken off, so that does say to me that Flandre is probably taking that Renekton top side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of a double whammy, which is nice for the Volibear. We've seen the Volibear jungle coming out over in North America, I believe it was. And as well, then you're also just handy enough getting rid of a ban or a nice counter pick for the Renekton. So overall, nice and decent. Set going to be banned away here by BLG, so they're actually not fully convinced that this Renekton is going topside, but I think overall EDG kind of have a pretty nice composition here.
I think it's Mako. Cool sign regardless. So Nautilus being hovered, you've got the Kai'Sa. It's just a great lock-in. Very, very good also at locking people up on the equalizer from the Rumble. Really, really solid pickup to go for with this composition. Nice stuff from EDG. And now the answer from BLG. They need to grab themselves a jungler and probably a mid laner.
Yeah, and just on the Nautilus point as well, the good thing is that even if Tahm Kench does, eat up the Varus, the ultimate will follow through and hitting up the Tahm, so you still get value from the ultimate. It's not like Tahm Kench can just kind of run away with that. But as you said, jungler and mid laner more than likely to be locked in, although it looks like Zika or Weiwei may actually be piloting the Nocturne here, as Biubiu will get his hands on the Jace. So still an okay matchup in the top lane, basically just trying to play around your range here as Biubiu and avoid the opportunity for a slicing dice from Flandre to close that gap. Again, though, we're seeing this Sylas come through as a blind pick. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I still think there's a lot of ways to counter it. it's got some good use when you look towards the likes of the Rumble, and you can take some of the ultimates away from like the Nautilus. But overall, I think you're leaving too much open for Scout here. You can just essentially play what he wants now.
Yeah, Scout has the pick of the litter here, but at least the Silas won't be in his hands, because we've all seen what Scout Silas can do. But Bew on the Jace once more. He had an amazing game number 1 in this series. I'm excited to see him on that once again, and it will be that Nocturne in the jungle for Weiwei. But Scout going with the Rise at the end of the day. So kind of a bit of a classic pick for him, and it's one of those picks that has been in a lot of conversations about how good of a pick it is. In competitive, really, really strong pick. In the game in general, not so much, because it requires so much coordination to play it correctly with a team. I will say, though, I like the composition here from EDG. Keeping it fairly simple, keeping it fairly standard from their side, and it feels like a composition that, if they play it well, they'll be able to take over a game.
Yeah, and I agree fully with that. I think the biggest thing here is, like, you've kind of got options throughout the game, right? Early game, you can try and play through this Renekton. You've got the stuns to set up for the likes of the Rumble. Even you look towards, like, post-level 6, you've got up both sides of the map are open for Marone for Scouts, so they can kind of play through multiple styles there as well. They've got really strong team fight as well and can play objectives quite well. So I like what EDG have. They've got multiple channels where they can try and push their advantages in this game. But then when you look across at BLG, I think you're kind of in a similar boat here. We already kind of said, hey, look, you've got some great poke that can come through from the likes of the Jace. You've got the follow-up damage that can come through super well when the Nocturne goes in. So I think you've got like decent answers here, but I think if we end up in some kind of front to back fight, I think the Rumble ultimate is going to do a lot of work in separating out this team fight and stopping some of the short range carries on BLG from having as big of an impact.
That'll be the big question, is if they can play that kind of peel style and keep those carries away. But I'm excited just to get this underway, to get this decided, Dagda. I feel like the question has been on my lips for the last 9 hours at this point. Who is the better team, EDG or BLG? And I feel like the answer has been tantalizingly close, but the goalpost keeps moving. It just keeps skipping away from me. And now we're heading on to the Rift. A long-awaited game is going to kick off. Yeah, the answer has been Hex flashing away from me, except then Hex flash broke, so it couldn't flash away from me anymore. And then the game started.
So now we're here. Now we made it. We did it. But
what a time to be alive.
I hope we do get to see the runes here, just to see if anyone did accidentally take it, and now they're just not allowed to use Hex Flash. But overall, I think coming into this, for EDG, we already kind of pointed out, look, you've got a lot of angles of attack here, right? Especially as JJ and Scout. Both side lanes in this both side lanes in this game have the opportunity to set you up super, super well. But when I look across at BLG, you're going to have like push top side, and you should have push bot side as well. So at least for Weiwei, he should have some help with Scuttle Crabs, but Zika should be pushed in this mid lane, which makes it a little bit more difficult for Weiwei to just easily garner a crab for himself.
Yeah, the mid lane especially, like, Zika's going to have a very hard time because, as you mentioned in one of the previous games, Silas already has a pretty hard time in the early laning phase. Rise can clear the wave just in the blink of an eye, so it's kind of polar opposites there. It's infinite prio for Scout to start that laning phase off, but if he does push too hard, he'll run out of mana. Instant exhaust there onto Viper as PP God gets pulled in, but that's a huge trade in favor of EDG to start this lane off on the bottom side.
Again, like, I mean, we know we kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt in the last game that Covery made, but PP God has been getting caught out quite a bit, and it seems like he's just being punished for these constant over-aggressions. In that situation, like, Amin has the range advantage. You have the level 2 push faster as well, because Varus with his E can clear faster than Kai'Sa with the Q, so no reason to try and go that aggressive that early. And now, even though you have the level 2, you're not really able to punish as hard as you'd like, and even maybe the opportunity for Viper and Mako to try and freeze the wave just here and stop the push from BLG and stop them from being able to crash this wave.
JJ looking to make a play on the top side of the map. Bew's in trouble. His extended does have flash available, but there's the Ruthless Predator. JJ actually tried to predict the flash with his Electro Harpoon there. Yeah. Unfortunate, but
Zika.
Hey. Bew will survive. Zika also, I guess he tried to go for SCS. That's what happens when you tried CS as Silas early on in the laning phase.
PP God, what are you doing? How have you been taken down low again? All pots burned. This is not the best of looks for this bottom lane. Now, I mean, looks like they're just trying to hard force this in, so then they can try and help out with Weiwei on the bottom side. But still, I mean, not exactly the best of trades happening for BLG in this bottom side.
He does have mad health regen, though, as Tahm Kench. Like, he's already back up to basically 400 HP. It's kind of insane. As JJ is just like, you know what? I'll try top side again. Spots out a ward, though, so realizes he's not going to be able to go for it for now, unless he finds another opportunity. BU respects it, backs away. He's playing on the very edge of danger here. He's trying to shove that wave. He's trying desperately. It's not going to happen, though, with the flash forward from JJ, but they're too far away. Electro Harpoon in. The stun is still there. BU trying to get away. He jumped back in. He gets away with it, though. Damage out and nearly 2v1s.
And this is so much time wasted by JJ as well. So now you've got the double flash invested. The kill doesn't go across. BU just resets and you'll TP in anyway, so it gets the wave. But this takes so much pressure off of Weiwei. He knows that, hey, look, I actually get to fully clear my jungle. I can get the better reset here. I can be out on the map and have better influence. And for a jungler like Nocturne that is fairly heavily reliant on a level 6, having this nice early clear to get to that point is going to be super nice.
Yeah. I mean, Weiwei, he's literally just sat at his computer giggling away to himself. The fact that the enemy jungler spent so long trying to make that play happen and it didn't work while he gets to just clear and try and get level 6. It's like the dream scenario for any Nocturne players. It's beautiful to see from the side of Weiwei. And a bit of a disaster for JJ up in the top side. Zika in trouble again, but Scout forced away with the chain lash there. And we'll have to see if EDG can start to make some of these plays work across the map. Because, again, did feel like a big investment, but he's only 2 camps down for now.
Yeah. I think the thing here for Weiwei is that now at least he's kind of going, okay, well, what can I actually do to try and play aggressive? Because my bot lane losing quite heavily. My mid lane is as well. And then we look top and like my flash is burnt on towards BU. It's going to be really difficult to try and lock
Hang on. Oh, Mako's in trouble here. I think it's important to mention, bot lane isn't really necessarily losing. They were oh, hang on. Weiwei kicked out. JJ looking for a chance there. A ward goes over. JJ didn't actually see that ward go down. Interestingly, Weiwei did get spotted by the Scry's Bloom, though, and now maybe a dive on the bottom side. No ultimate available for JJ. Scout does have his, but don't think it's going to happen. And it looks like BLG will survive for now. But yeah, when it comes to like the CS numbers in this bottom lane, they're actually still doing fine. Sure, PP God's taken some rough trades for himself, but he's still okay. Zika actually going to flash out in the mid lane as nice realm warp to try and get JJ into the play. But again, EDG trying to force these plays, but not finding anything.
Yeah, it wasn't at the topside scuttle for JJ, which is at least something to kind of get himself back. But I think the bigger thing from the losing out on bot lane, it's more about on the push, right? Because PP God had taken so many aggressive trades, he could no longer like stay up in lane, and Mako may be doing the same.
Oh my goodness. A lot of damage coming out. Viper, still a lot of HP though, so means BLG can't chase to try and finish the kill onto Mako, but if he's not careful on that recall, the piercing arrows from Varus really don't mess about. Once you've smacked that W button, really will chunt you out. Viper, happy to be aggressive, though, to protect his support in this bottom lane. We'll be able to get the safe recall off.
Yeah, I think as well, they were just conscious that Weiwei would be hitting 6 levels soon, but isn't the top side of the map, so don't have to be too worried about trying to make any sort of plays on the bot side, as no flash on Zika.
Landre making a play in the mid lane. Oh no, Zika, there's nowhere to go, mate. There's a jungler there as well. Everybody arrives to ruin Zika's day. Unfortunately for Scout, he doesn't get an assist, but at the end of the day, a kill's a kill's a kill's a kill, and they're going to be able to shut down Zika in the mid lane.
Yeah, it was overextended in lane, trying to shove that wave in so Scout couldn't freeze, but it means that if that's the case, they'll happily go and make a play towards mid lane, and now they're going to turn over towards these dragons as well, with Mako and JJ, just making sure they get this deep vision control in, and can actually look to power through the advantages that Mako and Viper have on bot side, and shut down Weiwei early.
I'm impressed at how proactive EDG are being on the map here. It feels like the entire game plan right now is don't let Weiwei play League of Legends. We're going to try and make dives happen every single lane. We're going to try and invade every single time we have an opportunity. Really proactive gameplay. Does mean that JJ slightly down in CS, but with that pick onto Zika, does mean he will still have the lead.
Blue buff is going to be handed off here to Scout as well, and I feel like with this blue buff now, Scout should be able to pretty much entirely shove in mid, and then they can start to look for these plays. You see Mako and Viper, I thought might be looking to freeze that wave there, so you have to overextend it, PP God and aiming, but I want to see EDG kind of like really put their foot down here. We already see the amount of vision control they have on bot side. They know exactly where Weiwei is, so they're pretty much aware at all points in time as to what the BLG game plan is, so they can actually work through JJ and try and solidify a few of their own. Now, Scout can also go towards top side if they want to. Flash will be back up for Bubu and Flandre at about the same time. And you can see here, Weiwei is kind of cognizant of this and just trying to keep these mid-wave shoved in, so Scout has less of an opportunity to roam.
JJ spots him, but just going to be a little bit of a sparring battle as Flandre kicked out the top side here. Bubu getting a really good trade for himself. He knows Weiwei is nearby. If he can get Flandre low, remember the paranoia, Weiwei would be able to just brute force a dive on that top side, but JJ is going to be able to spot this Herald out and maybe contest, but Scout heading back to base does have TP, but realistically, I don't think he'll be able to come back and get in onto this play. You can see PP God and aiming. We saw this in game 3.1 where they made the play towards mid on Scout. Scout flashes away though from the chains, and he's going pretty deep into the wrong jungle. That is both summoners from aiming. This guy is going aggressive. Can he get the chains? It stops the realm warp. It's beautiful in the end. Scout gonna be taken down. TP being channeled now. Mako gets a hook, but he's gonna be eaten up by PP God here. Can they get away from this one? Equalizer across the team. PP God flashes away onto the blast cone. Knocked up. Can he get away with the blast cone? He's gonna be able to get it in the last second here, and the shield comes through from the thick skin, but the ignite is there. The thick skin times out, and EDG 3 for 1.
3 for 1 and the dragon as well. So even though they tried to make the play into Scout, Scout buys so much time, the rest of EDG can collapse. And big victory there for the EDG side. Now TP back top side, but the tower may not survive, and this may not be the TP.
Yeah, Scout is suddenly in a 3 versus 1 here. The Herald will get the charge in. The tower is still alive, though. Weiwei about 1 HP here. But so is Scout underneath the tower. Can they finally finish him off? Nobody goes down to the tower in the end. This will be a BLG favored play, but it was dicey.
It was dicey and might be answered on the bottom side as well. Mako trying to go forward. Flash not quite available yet.
Aiming is here as well. Remember, this is a lethality barrier, so he does have a lot of damage on those Qs. If JJ is not careful, could get into kill range. No chain of corruption available for aiming right now, so I don't think there will be any kill threat. And they will just be able to clear the wave. About 10 CS advantage in that bottom side, but that's going to be fine for the side of aiming. He doesn't need super expensive items, being that lethality barrier, so you can get away with a lot less. Let's take another look at the play on Scout.
Yeah, I mean, nice job from Scout here. So flashes away from the hooks, gets aiming the flash and the heal for the speed up. Now, if he'd been able to dodge the chains of corruption, he would have been out, but aiming does just about manage to hit him, and that's when we get the rest of EDG arriving. They're like, right, we're going to make this play happen. TP comes in, and they're able to get the 3 for 1 trade off the back of that. It's the follow-up play, though, where BLG end up bringing a lot of that gold back. Kill on towards Scout, and you also get a hell of a turret plates on towards the Silas as well. So Zika 2-0-1 or 2-1-0. A lot of gold invested into this guy right now. You can actually see it on your screens that he's about 500 gold ahead of Scout. So this guy has the potential to carry, and when you've got ultimates like that, Equalizer to steal away, it can be pretty big.
Scout trying to get onto Weiwei. Zika's there as well. They will survive. And importantly, Zika got 2 kills. During all of that chaos, both of the kills that BLG have gone to Zika. We talked about how Silas struggles in the early laning phase. We're well past that point now. He's level 9. Zika is ready to brawl. He's getting close to the Everfrost as well. So that will be a point where Zika really starts to get online and get into this game, get into these scraps.
I think the biggest thing, though, is trying to use that at Dragons, right? Because it feels like if you're BLG, you have a ton of poke that can come through from aiming, from Bubu as well. Whereas for EDG, they're very much reliant on, like, getting Flandre into these fights or a creative realm warp to try and set up these plays for Mako. If I'm BLG, especially knowing that there's no Hex Flash in this game, I think your best bet is to try and contest a large portion of these dragons, even if it's not to get the dragons, but just to try and continue to poke, use the fact you've got this range, and see if you can maybe pick up 1 or 2 kills before you hard commit.
Oh, Paranoia mid. That's going to be Scout going down once again, but a play towards the top side as well. I don't think they've been able to commit to that one. He had a ward in River, so I think BLG will be safe from the counterplay. Now towards the bot side goes Wei. So does PP God aiming his lethality virus. He can just clear the wave.
Yeah, I love that BLG actually kind of got a 2-for-1 trade there. Wei. Oh, hang on. Oh.
Zika's in trouble. Flashes away. Flandre can't quite get the stun in time. Zika will be all right.
Because of the TP bot. No.
Hang on,
I'm not going to get this talk.
There's too much going on here. Mako gets the depth charge out. Flashes away from the arrow. I'm not even sure if that would have killed, but better safe than sorry, says Mako. And this time his flash actually works. Zika here in a 1v1 with Flandre. Dips over the wall. Gets himself to safety. Curious what's happening in the bot lane here, but I think it's all going to defuse.
Yeah, I mean, BLG committing that TP was a little bit questionable. Like, you don't have hard lockdown unless Amin has the Chains of Corruption, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they were able to hold them in place long enough or hit. And now you're able to just clear out this wave as EDG. So for BLG, they're just kind of stuck here, where they're like, well, Dragon's in a minute and 10. We don't really have a TP now that we can successfully use, so BLG's got to stick around here and just kind of share lane XP with Amin and PP God.
Yeah, it looks like BLG is going to recall in the end. As Wei moved up towards the top side, Scout playing very safely up in that top lane, not wanting to push too far. Let's take another look. I think it was just a Paranoia play straight on Scout.
It was, but the big thing here was that because the Paranoia locked off the vision, they weren't sure where Wei was. Wasn't sure if he's mid or if he was top side. And they couldn't actually coordinate the play properly. Like, that's one of the things about the Paranoia is the darkness really shuts down a lot of the communication, stops you from being able to properly coordinate. So the fact that they had that play, Wei kind of got a 2-for-1 special where he gets the kill mid, but also shuts down any play towards BLG in the top side.
All right, well, this is a good way for Game 3 to start, isn't it? 3 for 3 on the scoreboard. One Drake going the way of EDG. Next one up in 10 seconds' time. There's a minor gold advantage in favor of BLG, but it is just that 1,000, and so much of it is sat in the pocket of Zika, already with the Everfrost, but he also has 6 stacks on a Dark Seal. If he can have another good fight, turn that into a Medjai's, we're setting up for a game where Zika can be the one to take over.
BLG doesn't realize he's sitting on a ward, though. Curious to see if Mako and Viper were going to try and make anything happen, but I mean, yeah, as you said, like, Zika could be the one to try and go for these big plays, and you can see now in a side lane, Scout 0-3, he's got to run for the hills, especially with that Everfrost. So easy to catch these range carries as a Silas with that item completed.
Yeah, what we were talking about before with the priority and the ability for Ryze to just shove in, not the case anymore. When you've got 3-1 versus 0-3, all of the early matchup knowledge goes completely out of the window. This isn't even early laning phase anymore. Dragon is up though, and EDG want to start this one off. Equalizer available for JJ, so I'll have to keep our eyes on where he's able to place that one. But it looks like BLG not particularly interested in this one. It's just going to be the Cloud Drake, so they allow that one to go. A TP comes out from Zika here. Yeah. I guess they just want to go for the help.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by this. So, oh, hang on, just gonna hold on to this point for a second. As both teams kind of posturing now. You got a lot of poke that can come out from BLG.
BB's over in bot.
I don't think they really know what they're doing. So the thing for me there was like, Zika can just play a 1-4 style, right? You've got your 2 poke champions in BLG and Amin. I mean, Wei to a certain extent as well. Like, leave Zika in the side lane. Oh, hang on.
Oh, flash away comes out from JJ. We will be able to survive for now. That's Paranoia going to be used, though. Big ultimate taken away from BLG. BLG has moved up, though. He's in position. There's Equalizer, so jungle ult for jungle ult here, and no picks are going to happen. Could mean that that's the opportunity now for BLG to go for this Herald, because Equalizer, I would say, is a bit more of an important cooldown.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at Zika having access to this Nautilus ult, that's going to be pretty devastating for someone like Viper or Scout. But again, I think Zika could have just actually played off towards his top side. You've got poke on the other 4 champions, so no need for Zika to actually join in here and just try and like spread out the issues across the map for EDG. Because if Scout is constantly trying to deal with Zika in a side lane, it makes things a hell of a lot easier for BLG because you don't have that realm warp to actually like close the gap on towards the BLG roster. But end up TP mid, they end up getting that Rift Herald, so at least they're getting some value out of the Summer spell usage.
Yeah, they will be able to grab that in the end. But importantly, JJ has finished the Night Harvester now. He's starting to get scary himself. That equalizer will do a lot of damage on impact. BB just going to head back to base on this one. This feels tense, Dagda, but every single game so far today, when it's been relatively quiet in the early game, and even though it's been action-packed, there's not been that many kills in this early game. At kind of the 20-minute mark, that's when everything's kicked off. So I've got a feeling in a couple of minutes when that next Drake comes up, we're going to start to see these two teams going ham.
Yeah, and well, I think certainly for BLG, it's going to be a bit slower, as maybe not.
Maybe not, because we've got a pick in the jungle. The paranoia is not enough to get him out, and we'll be both playing. Oh no, aiming's gone down as well. It's all gone a little bit pear-shaped here for BLG, as EDG managed to find 2 picks in the jungle. It's going to be too early for the Drake, but they can move towards this bottom lane tower and at least find something off the back of that. And very nice play coming out from them to find 2 picks.
Again, though, EDG are just playing the map better, right? They've already got 5 members in towards mid. They just go and take over this bottom side jungle. They know Zika has no teleport on top side, and he's already fully invested in trying to push that wave. So EDG, with the man advantage, find the pick, find the tower, and now again, they'll be able to get this deep vision control that you can see on the mini-map before this dragon in 2 minutes. So EDG, again, looking in prime position to take this next objective and force BLG into an uncomfortable position.
EDG clearing all of the waves and getting a reset off themselves as well. Let's take another look at the action, because it was just way face checks in. I'm curious how aiming got caught out as well, though. I guess he was just the realm warp cuts him off.
I mean, you've nowhere to go. Yeah, realm warp coming in on the back line, delivering the rise and the Renekton. Like, there's nowhere for you to go there. Doesn't have the flash available, and unfortunately PP God tried to save Weiwei, which meant there was no safety for aiming in that one, so they end up both going down rather than just the one. Now, though, you can see BLG, they're starting to try and take the pop shots. They're trying to see if they can make these plays work again, but I love watching players like Scout when they get their hands onto a rise, because the creative use of these realm warps makes it so difficult, even for these ranged compositions, to actually stay at range, because you can come in from so many different angles, so many like dark spots on the map, that you have to be so careful as BLG.
It's kind of similar to the Tahm Kench pick, right? Where a lot of people see Tahm Kench as just this defensive pick, but actually it can be used as a almost hard engaged champion in some ways, where you can, or at least a hard engaged enabler, right? Where you can deliver your hard engage, you can deliver your front line onto them, or just use that ultimate to make a flanking play. So definitely really excited to see the very best players playing champions like the Tahm Kench, like the Rise as well, for the creativity, as you say. But now in the mid lane, Herald going to be dropped here by BLG as they look to make a move on this mid lane. Good damage out from Bu here. And there's a lot of lethality on the side of BLG. And Dagda, that could be bad news. Plantre going to be knocked up here. I don't think they can follow up to finish off the kill. But importantly, BLG, ton of lethality here. It's going to be Mountain Soul this game, so it's really important for BLG to maintain control of the Drakes for the rest of the game, because it's only going to get harder against all of that armor.
It's going to be a tough one as the hook.
Oh, big pick here, but PP God managed to get away. Has that thick skin, so a lot of health regen will come on through. Flandre with his ult, ticking away, trying to get onto PP God. Viper follows him on in, but Zika with a great Everfrost to disengage the fight on that one. Weiwei, no paranoia available. Does have the flash, but no way he can contest this Drake. And that is going to be 3 Drakes now for EDG. BLG are officially on a timer.
Yeah, and this is really disastrous for BLG, because as you said, Munch, like, the fact that you've got a Mountain Dragon against the amount of lethality that's there, I mean, even aiming, actually, if you look at his items, going for that Duskbladed Traktar, we've seen a lot more of the Prouder's Claw, just because it has the most lethality on the lethality items, but going for the Duskblade means that he's even going to be hurting a little bit for that. So right now, BLG are going to be in such a bad spot, especially when we look towards, you know, the Randuin's Omen that Flandre will be building third item, the Zhonya's that will come through from JJ, hell, even Scout as well.
Does Equalizer even have a cooldown? That's the only question I've got remaining, as PP God saves Aiming's life but sacrifices himself. But a stopwatch buys him some time. Zika trying to dip out as well, but Aiming goes down. What a shot from Scout! Sniping him with the Rise, getting an extra kill. That's 2 picks now for EDG. And Baron could be on the cards, Dagda.
Yeah, they have a lot of damage to take this down, and it's not like they're particularly low on health as well. So Viper and JJ going to start this. Scout going to hold on to that mid lane wave. Has that TP to join in as well, but you're only 3 members of BLG. You can't really do anything here.
It's going to be Very difficult to contest. They do have a bit of poke from Bilibili, which can do work in a Baron pit. Getting some damage down. Wei used the paranoia already. Has flash. Might go for the steal here, the 50-50, but it's not going to happen. JJ gets the snipe. It's another kill now onto Wei and Scout just standing there, intimidating. And Bilibili just has to try and flee, but the slow from the equalizer. Flandre trying to close the gap. Will get blasted away by the Thundering Blow here. And looks like Zika, mate, I'm not sure the blue buff is worth it. Here comes PP Gods, try and gobble up Zika. Might be able to save the day. Kingsley comes through, and it's actually Scout that's in trouble. I completely read it wrong, and Zika outplays them beautifully.
I mean, it's your own words used against you. The semi-global ultimate from the Tam Kench coming back, and now Bilibili, he wants to find more.
Oh, JJ could be in trouble here, but Bilibili can't quite go in. Viper just blows him up. The rest of the team was not ready to make that play alongside him. Zika couldn't get in. There was no hard engage there. Wei, his ultimate was on cooldown. He was over in the base, I think, at the time. So unfortunate there. Bilibili trying to make the play, but it didn't work out.
Still, though, we're looking at a 4,000 gold lead for EDG. 2.5 minutes until this next Mountain Dragon comes up, and for EDG, you're kind of hitting a spot where you're going to be in relatively good shape, right? Viper's going to finish that Runaan's Hurricane. He'll be hurting a ton of members of BLG, especially with the short... Well, if they can close that gap and actually get onto a few of these members, which they should be able to do with the Realm Warp. And then when you look towards the likes of the Sterix Gauge just completed for Flandre, he's going to be a menace to try and take down. Scout as well, having just completed his Zhonya's, means he can go forward super aggressive. So EDG coming across a lot of these big item breakpoints that are going to make it super difficult for BLG to deal with.
Yeah, it's getting to a point where when you look at the top of the scoreboard, everything is going the way of EDG, right? The only thing BLG have is a couple more towers, but in the current scheme of things, that's not going to matter at all. The 3 Drakes are what's really important here, because in a minute and 30 seconds, that 4th one will come up. And BLG are going to have to expend absolutely everything to try and secure that objective. Because if EDG, if they get a Mountain Soul, Dagda, I think this game is as good as over at that point.
Flandre over and off in a flank position here, just enough to scare BLG away. And yeah, I agree with you, Munch. Once the Dragon comes up, that's kind of lights out for BLG. And the problem is, again, EDG are just playing this map better. You don't really have control of side lanes here for BLG, despite the fact that Zika has 3 kills. Like, the bot side of the map as well, Bilibili just only managed to push out, but with 50 seconds left, and you can already see EDG having reset, they'll be able to push out these side lanes, get control over the mid lane as well, and be in a position to contest really well, or contest this dragon while having a great reset for themselves as well.
So 40 seconds to make that happen, and as you mentioned, the resets already come through from the side of EDG. They're all on their way over. Viper grabbing that red buff for himself. He'll be able to clear this wave and then try and take control of the river. Got to keep your eyes on JJ, where he's going to be able to find the equalizer. Everfrost onto Mako, but they don't commit to the play here. Zika has that depth charge, though. Will do a lot of damage in the hands of Silas. This Bilibili will put the top side, trying to 1v1 Flandre. This ain't the top lane anymore. You don't get the 1v1 at this point. There's a good amount of poke here. Zika going to be caught up. Has the Zhonya's. Chains of Corruption going out just onto one, though. PP God stepping forward to be the front line for his team. And a lot being used here. They're managing to keep EDG at range. This is the fight BLG have been looking for. But Bilibili getting closed on by Viper. Very nicely done by the LCK AD carry here. And now trying to close the gap onto Zika as well. Flandre won't be able to get over, though. And now the poke continues, aiming, still blasting these shots out. EDG, they're winning the fight for now, but they've got to be careful not to overextend for this one. Aiming very, very low on mana. The Dragon getting low. They've just got to get a good smite here. Oh, but they managed to snipe out the jungler. He goes down. Now EDG look for the fight instead. Can they finish everybody off? Zika has to be the man of the hour. PP God saves him, but the Kingslayer doesn't come off a cooldown. And aiming finds himself alone. And Flandre wants to flex his new skin as he looks for the kill onto the enemy AD carry. Easy pickings for the Croc. And it's going to be the soul for EDG.
Soul for EDG, the fight for EDG, and that pretty much spells the game for EDG. Although that fight was played so well by BLG, trying to keep them at arm's length, trying to hold EDG at bay. You can see Bilibili one step too far forward. Viper makes the play, gets the kill, and then the floodgates open for EDG.
Let's take another look at that action, because that was a long, very intense fight coming on through, and such a great snipe as well from Aiming to be able to finish off JJ at the Dragon.
Yeah, Aiming is doing a great job of getting the poke down, but you can see his mana bar, right? He's getting so low, you don't have BLG to try and follow up on this, and once he gets that last snipe onto JJ,
yeah,
left in the tank, and from that point forward, EDG find the opportunity to get onto Zika and get onto PP.
Yeah, and Aiming, it turns out Weiwei actually didn't even have Smite available either, so wouldn't have been able to steal that one regardless. I feel like they maybe needed to just try and get the snipe onto the Drake itself instead of onto JJ, and just try and use the Blight shot to finish the Drake off with the percent damage. Here we go. Scout. Mako looking for an opportunity mid here, but BLG will be able to back away. Oh, and it's getting tense here, Dagda, because it feels like EDG, they're champing at the bit, you know? They're 6,000 gold up, they've got the Martin Soul, they know they're in control, and they'd love to just make the play that closes the game out.
Yeah, oh, it's just PP God arriving, but yeah, I mean, for EDG, they have full control top side. Oh, here's the Realm Warp over towards Baron.
They're just going to blast it. They're just going to annihilate this Baron. The Realm Warp's so powerful when used correctly, and Scout is one of the best in the world at it. And he goes, oh, he gets the steal! Weiwei! You absolute beauty. Unbelievable. Paranoia into the pit, steals the Baron, and everybody gets away with it, at least for now. Zika getting chased, though. Maybe Flandre can close the gap and take the kill. Zika trying to get the that ain't happening, mate. There's no way you get that recall off. Equalizer comes down. EDG, this is their revenge for the Baron as every ult on the planet is used.
I mean, you'll take that as BLG. EDG's way of closing out this game was through Baron. They don't have a huge amount of pressure when you're just looking at the straight-up carries that they have onto these turrets. Like, the range isn't there, so they really do rely on either outplaying on side lanes or this Baron to close out the game. They just don't have it right now as BLG. You still need to be careful, though.
They will be able to defend their towers, though, and hey, they've bought themselves some time, and look, at the end of the day, Elder Drake exists. If BLG can just get themselves an Elder Drake, this is still a very possible game. I have to say, everything in my head says that EDG still wins this one, but BLG at least have bought themselves a bit of time. Let's take another look, because I'm pretty sure it's the Scrying Orb, yeah. And Paranoia comes through. And it was just the reminiscence of the fading vision. A split-second difference between
I'm pretty sure
he
used just spamming Smite onto the first thing that came in range. Was just hoping it was the Baron.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. That was as close as they come. And, you know, after I would say having a favorable draft comparatively in the previous version of game number 3, I think BLG will be thanking their lucky stars that something's going their way finally on this one. 2 minutes until that Elder Drake spawns, Dagda. It feels like that is the moment. It feels like we're going to have a bit of a quiet time here. A bit of a lull state, as they'd say over in the LCK. Because I'm not sure either team is really willing to throw away any advantages.
Now, at this stage, BLG are just going to be happy to use this Baron to get their waves back in shape, get some control on the map, and if as a side effect they can try and get some vision in this bottom side jungle of EDG, they'd be delighted. But the big thing here is, I think we've already kind of hit on a good amount, is like, Aiming is doing a lot of damage on towards the likes of JJ and Scout, but if he's kind of facing off against Flandre and that, the amount of armor that this team has is going to be really difficult for this lethality virus to try and get through. And same when you're looking towards BLG as well. So at the moment, the straight up just poke isn't going to be hitting as much as BLG hope, and especially when you've got like Scout with some TPs, he can go for some of this creative play that we've been talking about with the Realm Warp. You have to be so careful with BLG around these objectives that you aren't getting flanked by EDG.
That's going to be the tough. I mean, there's a lot to look out for here for BLG.
Even all the flashes are up for EDG.
Oh, maybe a pick here as Weiwei goes in. Oh, look at the damage on towards Viper. He's just forced straight out of the play. That was a singular Q from both Aiming and BLG, and the AD carry from EDG is just removed from the equation. And now 40 seconds until that Elder Drake spawns. BLG in full control of the area. Oh, flash away from the hook there. Mako trying to make it happen for EDG. Doesn't quite work out for now.
Yeah, you can see EDG trying to get full control of this mid lane because they could just barrel down if BLG tried to commit to this dragon, but no wave. Now the Realm Warp behind.
Here we go. The fight's going to kick off. Equalizer is in, and BLG is spread out. There was 3 of them caught in the meat grinder. EDG blow BLG to another universe here as Bew is chased down by Flandre. Nobody can face up to this man at all this game. As Flandre will finish this one off. Bew does manage to knock him away. Oh, Zika's here. No way do they turn this one around. Flandre's going to go down instead. Surely here. Zika should be able to finish this one off. Gets the knock-up. Finishes the kill onto the Croc. And now TP's back to the base. EDG trying to end this one out. Zika has to be the man of the hour. He has to do the impossible and hold the base almost by himself. Bew has now arrived as well. They're trying to clear the wave. Trying to do anything they can, but the dive can come on through. Knock is there. Equalizer comes down, but Zika is locked up and taken down. And EDG, it's an exciting way to end it as they finish this series and prove to everyone that they're still on top. The ultimates come out. They're looking for a little bit of showmanship as they want a couple of bonus kills. They got to be a little bit careful though. The health bar's getting low as Viper flashes in for a little bit more. EDG still a top team as they take down BLG.
1 win on the board for EDG as they start again their campaign for Summer 2021, but they're going to be pretty happy at least with the way that these engages were happening for them. Scout on point once again with this rise. The Realm Warp's looking great, delivering EDG onto a very scared and very shy BLG and River to close out the game with a spectacular fight.
BLG were just not expecting that re-engage. They were not expecting the Realm Warp to come on through, and it has to be said, like, I don't see a world where Scout doesn't get MVP. Maybe there's an argument for Flandre. His Renekton was pretty terrifying in the fights, but I think Scout's Realm Warps were absolutely what clinched this game for him and the rest of the team. Really, really beautiful stuff, though, from EDG, and the fact that they're able to make this kind of creative play happen in such a tense game after such a long day. Like, yeah. We were all waiting for the delay, right? The players have been playing half a series already. And they get halfway into the 3rd game, and then they have to wait through all that delay and then play another game. Like, these guys were absolutely exhausted by the end of that. Still being able to play to that caliber is exceptional stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to 1:30 a.m. for these guys over there. Like, it is not early days at all for these. Yeah. And the fact that you're still able to come out with this speaks volumes to these players. But again, I mean, it's Scout, right? This guy has been the mainstay of EDG for the last, well, 6 years now. He's been there since 2015, so not exactly someone you can't rely on for EDG. And I think here as well, I agree the Realm Warps and everything were amazing from Scout. Unfortunately, they went at 0-3 at the start. May hinder the MVP performance, but still, I think this is something that you can still look at as EDG and think, yeah, you know, we played the map state better than BLG. Our team fighting was superior to BLG. And our overall laning, especially in that bottom side of the map, was superior to BLG as well. So I think we're still seeing that EDG are a force to be reckoned with. Even if we did see them slip up in playoffs, they look like a team that's back and ready for action.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see more of that from EDG. I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, this is the result that we should expect, that EDG takes this series. But when we came into this series, the big thing I said was, hey, look, I want to see what BLG are made of. I wasn't really expecting them to get us a win, but I was hoping to see a bit of pizzazz, right? A bit of mojo. Show us what you're made of. They have done that today. And sure, they don't take the win in the end, and it's a bit sad for BLG fans. But at the end of the day, they showed against one of the best teams in the league that they can show up, that they can take it to a team like EDG. They managed to win one game. They managed to put pressure on both of the other games. So I'd say if you're a fan of BLG looking for a good performance this split, this is a great way to start things off.
Yeah, I agree. I think the top half of the map looked really, really strong. Bew had some moments on the Jace where he overextended, but still, like, throughout the day, he looked really good against Flandre. Wei as well, and even, honestly, Zika as well, stepping up to a certain amount. I mean, I really liked a lot of his performances. I think the big one for me is I wasn't fully convinced by PP God, and it's kind of hard to say because I know he is a big fan base here, but, like, his Tam Kench, his positioning wasn't great. I know, yeah. That's why I was a little bit nervous to say it, but honestly, like, his decision-making on who to devour, when to devour, were a little bit sloppy as well. And as we saw, like, taking heavy trades when he didn't need to in several of the games. I'm kind of surprised, because I really wanted PP God to be able to do well, but I think he's still got a lot to learn when it comes towards how to play alongside aiming. But I think if we end up seeing that improvement, I think BLG will certainly become a force to be reckoned with. Like, it definitely feels like the foundation for a strong team is there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the key thing, is that I mean, foundation is the perfect word. They're setting the groundwork of what could be. And yes, there's a couple of bits that are loose, there are a couple of bits that need fixing up. But if they could tick some of those boxes, this is a team that, like, in my mind, off of a performance like that, I would expect them to, at very least, improve their performance and maybe make it into playoffs this split. I'm excited to see what we can see. I don't want to make any crazy calls right now, but, like, I'm excited for the future of this BLG roster. On the side of EDG as well. Great start to things, right? A little bit dicey in the first game, but I do feel like that first one was like, okay, we hadn't considered that Karma Senna was absolutely insane and completely impossible to fight against. And then that game's kind of a wash at that point. And then the other two games in the series, clearly EDG managing to take things. So it felt like they took a minute to get a handle of this series and maybe get a handle of what's going on in the meta. But later on in the series, they really came into their own. And it's going to be Flandre grabs himself the MVP on his Renekton as well. And we said it was either him or Scout. Really, really nicely done by Flandre. And I think, you know, when we got later in the game, it didn't feel like anyone could do anything to that Renekton. Flandre was just doing whatever he wanted in the fights.
Yeah, and that's kind of where Renekton ends up scariest, right? You're not kind of limited by your own kit because you got Scout there to deliver you to every the hell you want. Yeah. You're already fed as all hell because you've got all these you've already got all these kills, you got all these assists. Like, it really felt like Flandre was just an absolute force to be reckoned with. But even in these early stages, like, the TP plays were great in trying to help set up EDG. Him working, as we said, in conjunction with Scout worked out fantastic. So I think, again, like, Flandre did, certainly on this Renekton, look back at home.
And, you know, just being able to do so much in these fights against things like the Everfrost Silas and so much range and the Tom Kench peeling people, like, it's difficult to have such a huge impact as something like the Renekton, but managing to do it beautifully. Really, really strong performance coming out from Flandre and a great performance from EDG as a whole. And Dagda, that rounds up our series, and with that, we're going to go speak to our MVP. So I'm going to kick it over to Wendy once again to round us out with an interview with Flandre.
Hi everyone, welcome to the interview, and now I'm standing by with Flandre after a very intense best of 3 over BLG. So my very first question is, you got MVP for Game 3 and you really roamed a lot in that game from the very early phase, and I think both teams played so aggressively in the very early game. So could we know more about the early game strategy from Edward Gaming? 那首先恭喜你们，今天也是在非常焦灼的 BO3 之后拿下了比赛的胜利。我们的圣枪哥也是第3局的 MVP 嘛，然后所以想问一下关于第3局的一个问题，感觉你们2支队伍好像打的都比较凶，然后你从前期就一直开始游走，所以想问一下你们的前期的一些战术安排是怎么样的呢？
前期其实主要是前期比较度过嘛，前几阶的时候，然后成功打野帮我缓解了压力，然后所以我就后面等级高了就可以开始一直游走，就帮队伍，后面也找到几波机会。
So at the beginning of the game, it was a very hard time for me, but our jungler JJ, he really helped me a lot. So I will be free and I can do some roamings to help other teammates. And luckily, I was able to find some opportunities to open the whole situation. And also, I want to talk a bit more about the last team fight in Game 3, because Scott has used the Rise ultimate to make a very perfect engagement to allow you guys to just close up the game so cleanly. So could we know more about the team's communication before that team fight? 那说到第3局，我们也想谈一下，就是最后的一波团战 ，Scott 是利用了一个瑞兹的大招，是非常漂亮的一波开团，直接终结了比赛。所以想问一下，在那一波的时候，你们在那开团之前进行了怎么样一个队内的一个沟通呢？
当时我们大家都走到一起，然后确定完彼此技能以后，他开车觉得 OK， 然后我就上了，然后剩下就闪上去就行了。
Before that team fight, we have gathered and also we have checked the cooldown of the skills, very crucial skills. And then we just followed the Scott's ultimate, and then I just used the flash to make the hard engagement, to use all the skills to make the engagement. And luckily, you were able to, with that, you were able to get the win. And now from these 2 days, we have really seen a wide variety of the top lane champion choices. So could you recommend a few top lane champions that really fits into the meta to all the audience? 那其实这2天的比赛，我们感觉上路有很多各种各样的英雄都能够登场。那盛强哥能不能给我们所有观众朋友们稍微推荐几个，就是上路比较好用的、比较适合这个版本的英雄，然后包括说一下简单的原因呢？
上路其实这个版本大部分是那种前期就要分出胜负的，大部分都是肉搏的，所以要推荐的话，还是比较推荐比较万金油的鳄鱼啊，还有色提这种。
I think in the current meta, the early game skirmishes for the top lane is very crucial. So I really recommend some champions, including Renekton or the set for the top lane. And also my last question is, there are so many expectations and eyes on you on Edward Gaming. So what's your personal goal for this summer split? 那最后一个问题也是，其实现在呢也会有很多关注嘛，就关注盛强哥，然后包括说支持我们的 EDG， 所以说也想问一下你在夏季赛的个人的一个目标，或者说对夏季赛的一个展望是怎么样的呢？
我夏季赛的目标肯定是进决赛嘛，因为春季赛倒在了决赛圈。
Because in the spring split, we ended up our journey during the semifinals. So my personal goal for this summer is I want to get into the finals. And I hope there will be a very good summer split for Edward Gaming and for you. And congratulations again. 那再次的恭喜你们今天也是辛苦了。And back to you guys. Bye bye.
Very humble to say his goals for the split just to make it to the finals. I think if you're a player on EDG or if you're a fan of EDG, you're looking for a dub when it comes to this split. That should be the goal because this is definitely a team of that kind.
World finals.
Maybe. But even then, if you're making it to World Finals as an LPL team, you should be looking for the dub at the end of the day. That's just competition. But hey, fantastic day here. Apologies again about the tech issues. Apologies again about the delay. But at the end of the day, we've got the games in the books, 5-game day. And we had some really good games here today, Dagda. Because even in the first series, where it was a 2-0, the games were actually still fairly close. It didn't feel like it was a complete wash. So really, really exciting today. And speaking of, let's take a look at the results. And Dagda, you can give us a bit of a recap on what happened in those games, because I've completely forgotten at this point. We've been talking
yeah, I was going to say, long ago, way back in history, OMG were nothing but a cup of tea. I don't know. But anyway, OMG not able to pick up a win there against RA. RA, I think a lot of signs of life, though, for OMG, which I'm hoping we will continue to see. Able, having some nice performances, but definitely still needs to get used to the LPL style of things. And then when we obviously look at our 2-1, EDG managing to pick up the victory against BLG after getting absolutely destroyed game 1 by Sen and Karma. They were able to bounce back super well and even going late into the night.
Yeah, really, really good stuff to come out. RA and EDG going to be the ones to take the victories at the end of things, and BLG and OMG unfortunately fall a little short, but still positives to be talked about there for both of those teams. Definitely showing some good stuff. But tomorrow, we have plenty more where that came from. FPX versus Ultra Prime, the new organization in the LPL, previously eStar, changing the name and branding to Ultra Prime, which I have to say, cool logo, right? Pretty cool logo.
Yeah, it's annoying that Twitch streamers have got their hands onto a team and now they're just telling everyone for their primes. They're just throwing them everywhere, all over the place. But you know what?
The new level of
Ultra
Twitch
Prime.
subscription, the Ultra Prime.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, after that one, we're going to see LNG versus V5 as well to round the day out. And I think that one, a lot of question marks on how V5 are going to perform, but also what LNG look like, because that was a team that had a lot of ups and downs last split. And I'm hoping
Iwandi is close to my heart. I want Iwandi to do well. That's all I want.
Like, I want the team to do well. I want all of the teams to do well. But Dagda, it's a competition, so it doesn't really matter what
so
I want.
You just want
WE
to do slightly better.
So.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Exactly. As long as WE wins, everything's fine. Or Suning, or top esports. You know, I'm a man of many teams. But yeah, it's been a day. It's been a day and a half, Dagda. I don't know about you, but I've said a lot of words. In fact, I do know about you. You've said a lot of words as well.
I have. I've been here beside you.
But I've just been told. Yeah, I've been told the most beautiful words ever by the producer, and that's to round out the show. So I'm going to go to bed now at 4:30 in the afternoon. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Thank you for watching, everyone. And we will see you guys in Twitch chat